Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. Thank you for joining me. If you would like, share it, comment on the post, and then if you would like, you can follow me in Genesis chapter 8, beginning in verse number 15. And to think about that for a second for some reason. Genesis chapter 8, beginning in verse number 15. And we are here at the conclusion of the flood, beginning a new day in this world. And God begins to explain to him what he expects out of this second chance. Not just that God was wiping out sin, he was giving man a chance here to redeem himself, to return to God's original design that he had laid out for man from the beginning of creation. And Noah has that responsibility. He's given that charge, and you see that he gets some of the same counsel that had been given back in Genesis chapter 1 when they're told that they are to cover the earth, to be fruitful and to multiply, and so they are given some of those again same commands, the same challenge. Okay, Noah, it's just you and your family. Let's start over. Let's start from square one and build this world the way I intended for it to be. And Noah is overwhelmed. Noah is grateful for this opportunity, and they go out, and in verse 20, Noah builds an altar, and so he starts out worshiping the Lord and offering up sacrifices for God, saving his family, for giving them this opportunity, for redeeming earth, for again all that he had protected them from and brought them from through during this flood. And he again gives this sacrifice, and at that point God promises that he will never flood the earth. He will never do that again. And just point out something while we're here. You often hear people say, well, I've always heard that in the end times you won't be able to tell the seasons apart. Verse 22 disputes that when it says, while the earth remains, there will be a seed time and a harvest, a cold and a heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. And so that verse disputes that common, I don't know if you call that a wives' tale, what you call that, that's been passed down throughout time. But the lesson that I really think that you and I can pull out of this story, and again, it's a familiar story. We've been taught the story of Noah and the flood since we were young children. But I would just like to remind you here of what the overarching message that is there, and that is that when we are obedient, when we are faithful, and we talked about this a few months back in our men's meeting on a Thursday night, how Noah was an example of obedience and faith, and how when we are obedient, when we operate in faith and we follow God's commandments, how God can move and how God will bless our life, how he can redeem, restore those things that had been destroyed. Man had, in just a few short chapters here in the book of Genesis, man had pretty well destroyed, completely undermined everything that God had designed and created. And because one man and his family were faithful, God began a new work and began to rebuild. And I'd just like to say to you this morning, I hear people oftentimes say, well, I've been too mean, too bad, I've done too much, God could never forgive me. I think this story reminds us that God can. If we're faithful, like Noah was faithful, God can rebuild that which has been destroyed. Whatever your life has become, wherever you've gone, whatever you've done, God can still redeem and rebuild and restore what you have destroyed if you'll trust him. Think about it. You have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.